Hello, I'm Paula Rawsthorne and I'm the author of Blood Tracks, which is published by Usborne. It's a YA thriller. So I wanted to tell you a bit about the extract I've just read from chapter 1. So a bit about the process of writing. When I did the first draft of chapter 1, my editor saw it and she was really pleased with it, but she made a comment which really changed the way I saw how I was writing. And her comment was that I was coming across as too much of an observer of the scene rather than being inside my heroine's head. And when I reread it, I saw that she was right, and I went back and retweaked that whole chapter because Gina Wilson is the 16-year-old heroine of Blood Tracks, and it's her who takes us through the story. It's her story, and what I needed to do, even though I was writing in third person, was to see and feel everything from her point of view. And it made the relationship between the reader and the heroine, I hope, a lot more intimate. And I took that thought right the way through my novel writing, and hopefully it works. Gina narrowed her eyes in concern. She leaned across and felt his forehead with the palm of her hand. Well, you don't feel too hot or anything, but you must be coming down with something. This is like sitting in the car with a zombie. She fell silent, her eyes focused on her dad, willing him to smile or speak. But the only sound was of the squeaking window screen wipers and the hot air blasting around the car, fighting back the steam that was misting up the windows. Her dad indicated right as a sign for a no-through road. Why are you going down here? He didn't answer. None of the street lamps dotted along the cracked pavements were working. They bumped slowly along the cobbles, past rows of derelict boarded-up houses. Beyond, unseen in the darkness, was an old bridge over the railway line, and a little way after that the street petered out. Planet Earth calling Dad! She was trying to sound playful, but tension riddled her voice. You've gone the wrong way. He pulled over onto the pavement, turning off the headlights but keeping the engine running. What's up? Is there something wrong with the car? Gina asked. No, he said, looking into the blackness. I just need to answer a call of nature. What? You going out in this to have a wee? Can't you just hold on till we get home? No, I can't. You stay in the car, put the radio on, don't go anywhere. Put the radio on? How long are you going to be? But he didn't answer. Instead, he suddenly turned to her and clasped her hands between his calloused palms. I love you, Gina. You know that, don't you? He said earnestly, his eyes locked on hers. As she searched her father's pensive face, she saw herself reflected in him more sharply than ever. She was looking at the same dark feline eyes, the same thick black eyebrows. Her skin was caramel, whereas his was a deep brown, but she'd inherited his bow-shaped mouth, his wide cheekbones and strong jawline, all the features that left people divided over whether Gina Wilson was unusually attractive or just the wrong side of handsome for a girl. Gina let out a nervous laugh. Oh my God, Dad, what is wrong with you tonight? You're freaking me out. He gave her a weak smile. I'm sorry. How about we go for a run tomorrow? Okay then, she beamed. Wriggling her hands free, she noticed his palms were encrusted with dirt. She tutted. Your hands are filthy and your overalls are even worse. Honestly, Dad, what are you like? Get going, will you? I want to get home. He picked up his phone, put it in the pocket of his overalls and opened the door to the driving rain. Gina watched as he was quickly consumed by the darkness. She pressed various buttons on the radio, hoping that the music would shake off her unease. She found a song she liked and slouched down in the seat, put her feet up on the dashboard and proceeded to untie her trainers and peel off her soggy socks. She wriggled her damp, puckered toes, letting the hot air dry them. Her hands beat out the rhythm of the song on her legs as the window screen wipers swished back and forth like a frenetic metronome. She groaned, remembering that she had a science project due in the next day. She always waited until the last minute to get her homework done. Usually she'd panic and end up throwing herself on her dad's mercy. He'd always give her a hand to look up answers and find all the worksheets she'd lost. But there was no way she could ask her dad to bail her out tonight, not when he was acting so weird. And there was no point asking her mum. Mum's thoughts on the matters were very clear. You're too soft on her, Martin, Claire would lecture. Gina's 15, not 5. It's her own fault if she leaves everything to the last minute. Just let her get in trouble. It's the only way she'll learn. Another song started on the radio. What's he doing? He's been ages. Gina contemplated going to find him, but now that she'd just got dry, she didn't fancy venturing outside into the dark and the wet. Instead, she leaned over to the steering wheel and pressed down on the horn, emitting 2 long blasts of protest. "Come on, Dad," she pleaded. She slumped back in her chair and heard her phone beep from inside her tracksuit pocket. That'll be Mum wondering where we are. But it was Dad that flashed up on the screen. She clicked on the text and her stomach muscles clenched as she stared at the message. "Forgive me, Dad." She hit the button to silence the radio. "Dad?" Her eyes scanned the darkness outside as panic rose in her. She strained her ears, but all she could hear was the squeak of the window screen wipers and the rain pummeling the car. But then, seconds later, came the ear-piercing sound of train wheels, sparking and squealing along a track in a desperate attempt to stop.